This is our DIY adventure van, and we're about to give you the full tour.
The van is a Ford e350. It's a 2010 and it is the extended passenger van. And we went with the extended van because it's extended. There's more room in it. We built the build from scratch. We bought the van about 6 months ago. We spent about the last six and a half months working on the van, tore it all the way down to the metal and built out everything we're about to show you. We're out on our first adventure in the rig. We literally stayed one night in it and then hit the road, and we're about 3 weeks into the trip now. We bought the van on Facebook Marketplace from a flooring contractor, and it's got 150,000 miles on it. So we went with the e350 because it's a Ford Super Duty. It's a 1-ton rear axle, so it's equivalent to like a F350 or a Chevy 3500 or something like that. And that just means that it's got a lot more payload capacity. I think this thing has a almost 4,000 pound payload capacity, so we knew it would support a really heavy build. The chassis is mostly stock. We did just upgrade the tires. We did not leave home with these Hercules all-terrain tires. We actually blew a tire on this trip and upgraded on the road. And I've got some long-term plans for the suspension to maybe do a little bit of a lift here in the front, but honestly, it's super capable. It's got tons of ground clearance. It gets us anywhere.
This is our outdoor camp setup. We have this awning. This is an Overland Vehicle Systems Nomad awning. We actually have the same awning on our Jeep, just a smaller version of it, and we love this whole setup so much. It's very stable, gives us amazing shade. It's really good. We actually found this on Facebook Marketplace and bought it on the road at the beginning of this trip. So we left home without an awning, and now we have an awning. If you already subscribed to our channel, you've probably seen a lot of our outdoor camp setup from our RV and our Jeep. And now in the van, we're using a lot of the same things. So we have a couple of these really sturdy folding tables. I actually just got this one for this trip because it's so big that I can have my stove and more. The other one I'm about to show you is just stove size. So I'm really loving this table. This one we've had for a long time. It's a similar style. When the stove's on it, that's pretty much all that holds it. Right now I'm using it for my dishwashing setup, but it's really versatile and also really sturdy. We have a couple more tables. This one I love. We use this constantly, even when we're at home just for like picnics and stuff. It's really fast to fold up and deploy. And this is just kind of the coffee table. A lot of times we eat around it. And as you can see, it just has whatever's going on is on this table all day. We also have a couple of these chairs. We really like these because they fold down into a really condensed size and are really easy to set up. I can carry all three of ours in my hiking backpack and take them to the beach, and it's great. Last, we have this little guy. We don't get this one out unless we're like at a spot for a couple nights. This is like the full unfurl, but it's really nice just to have another surface. Right now it has all my toiletry beauty stuff on it, and it just can be a lot of things too. We'll eat at this sometimes, especially if we don't have a picnic table, but the site we're at actually has a picnic table too, so we're full with tables here. I'm going to show you more about our cooking setup, but first I have to pull a pizza out of my oven. Yeah, that's perfect.
That looks good.
Yay. So cooking while we're traveling is really big for us. We love to cook our own food. And this Coleman camp stove is basically the center of all of that. We have a griddle that fits over both burners that can cook pretty much anything. We have a kettle for hot water. We have this large pot. And then we also just bought ourselves a little skillet, single burner. And then the thing I've been like obsessed with on this trip is the oven. This is a Coleman camp oven. It's heated by the stove. It doesn't have its own heat source. And you can see it has this little like welding fabric blanket over it, so it like stays really insulated. It's been amazing. I've made cookies, pizza, biscuits, cinnamon rolls while we're traveling. It's so fun. Everything I've done has been in this little pan. Anyway, that's the cooking setup from outside. All of our food storage and prep work area is inside, and we'll show you that in a minute. One of the coolest things that we have going on with our camp kitchen is this little propane tank. It's a 5-pound, which has only been filled once for us in 3 weeks, and we're cooking constantly with it. And I'm baking in an oven. Like it's like a lot of propane. It has this really awesome case that keeps it really well contained. The hose coils up right here so that it is really compact and everything's where it needs to be, and we're not having to deal with a million of those little green cans that you can't dispose of properly. So I really like this. We filled it for I think $4. I mean, this is definitely worth it.
All right, on the back side of the van is our garage storage that goes underneath the bed. And there's a lot to talk about back here. Most of this is negative space that takes all this stuff that you've seen. It all packs down really nice and neat, and it's not floating around in the cab with us while we're driving. And there's a special kind of Tetris you have to play to get it all to fit perfectly, but that all goes in the middle. On this side though, we have our fresh water fill for our water tank. We'll talk a little bit more about the plumbing system later. And on the back side here, we actually have our outdoor shower, which just hooks up to like a regular garden faucet, but like we use it for dishes or, you know, foot baths, other spa type activities, full showers. So this is really, really handy, and it comes right off the back here. No hot water, cold water only, but there's no such thing as cold water when it's 90 degrees everywhere you go. Also back here, while we're looking at it, is the electrical bay on the back side. And so we've got kind of an unorthodox electrical setup because we wanted something versatile and we wanted to get out on the road, you know. So we took, you know, pieces that we had, basically 2 electrical systems. One of them is this Anker Solix generator. Anker sent us this a while ago to use in our Jeep, actually. We took it in this rig, and it is running the entire AC power side of the house. We don't have a built-in inverter. We're using this as our inverter, and that's great because it's got a huge output on it, and we didn't have to worry about sizing everything for the batteries correctly. The other thing that's cool about this is we have a ground deploy solar panel. It's 400 watts. It charges this thing super fast. It's also very fast charging. If we do have something to plug into, we could just plug it in. It charges in like less than an hour fully. And then we've got a red ODO 12 volt lithium battery on this side, and that powers all of the 12 volt systems in the house side of the van. And that is our overhead lighting, our ventilation fans, and our refrigerator that we'll show you in a bit. It is powered by this Bouge solar charge controller and a 200 watt solar panel on the roof. So like 2 separate solar systems, 2 separate battery systems for the AC and DC power. And it's worked great. I would love to fully integrate those 2 things later and maybe expand the battery bank and put an onboard inverter. But for now, this has been awesome. We can just unplug it, take it with us somewhere, go plug it in at a gas station, you know, like it's pretty versatile. And it's running our Starlink right now because we got plenty of sun and we're in a pretty remote spot where there's no cell coverage. So I'm able to work while we're on the road. In the front is the cockpit. I guess that's kind of obvious, isn't it? In the driver's bay here, we've got our shade up, but yeah, this is set up for putting down the miles. We're about a little over 3,000 miles into our current trip. On my door here, I've got a little storage bin that's got all of our GMRS radios, which we take in all of our rigs. Haven't gotten a ton of mileage out of those on this trip, but it's great to have them. Weather radios built in. And I've also got one of our window shades, window shade that matches my door here in a pocket. We'll talk a little bit more about these later in the video. I've got my super cool
Cup holder snack tray.
Thank you. I've got my cup holder snack tray. So it's got this little cup holder base that goes in your cup holder and stuff this in it, and it swivels and snacks while driving. Very, very comfortable. Tons of cup holders. We've got a lot of miscellaneous storage up here in the front, stuff that we need for while we're driving. Up top, we've got our CarPuride. This is an aftermarket standalone Apple CarPlay head unit. And so when I'm driving, this is how we're controlling music and directions and all of that stuff as we go down the road. And see, it just popped right up on my phone here. And then down here, other odds and ends, we've got a little small power bank that actually powers our Nomad modem. This is our other mode of internet. When we have cell coverage, this is the primary internet. Barely uses any power at all. We can run it off a battery bank or off the house batteries. And you know, if we've got 5G coverage, I've gotten as much as 200 megabit off this. Unlimited plan that Nomad sent us. These are awesome. This is part of their Nomad Air Kit. It comes with a battery that matches this and actually a little backpack that you carry it all around in. We're not using the backpack because it lives right there. So when we get out of the woods, that'll be our internet. The seats here swivel. I installed swivel bases underneath both of them. The passenger seat's the one that gets swiveled the most, and Paige will demonstrate that for you now.
May it go smoothly at this time. I can't do it from in it either. A lot of storage back here. Okay. Hey, I did it for a minute.
I just want to point out that process is actually a lot smoother with the door open and not sitting in it. You usually do it in one move, but...
The elusive knob.
Okay, that was a way better demo.
Ta-da! I hope you're enjoying the tour. We'll get right back to that in just a second. I wanted to really quickly let you guys know that we have a website, and everything you're seeing here on the van build is linked there on the website for you guys. We have some really great sponsors who have made some discount codes available to you guys. So if you are looking into any of the products we use in our van build, be sure and check that out. We have everything from our batteries to our CarPlay to our sink faucet to our camp dishes, towels, everything is on that website. And you can find that at wilderadventures.tv. That's also linked in the description for you guys, wilderadventures.tv. That's our website. We hope this helps you find something to improve your next adventure.
We've got a bunch of storage on the back of this seat. When it's flipped around, you have to get to it through here. The rest of the time, it's accessible from the inside. But this is where everybody's toiletries live. Shower bags, all that stuff, and our very handy first aid kit. This, by the way, we borrowed from the Jeep. It's in the Jeep setup as well. And I'm showing you this now because I have to get the first aid kit. Henry just informed me that he has a splinter. It's stuck in there though. Oh.
Yeah. Got it?
Got it.
Way to go, Dada!
So if you watched our van build series, Casey actually installed this seat for Henry. The van was a work van. It didn't have extra seats in it. And this is bolted to the van. And this is where Henry rides. So he's got his booster seat. He actually has one of these little cup holder snack trays as well. And then he has some really cool storage. So there's a lot of space behind here where he puts like his art supplies, his Legos, his iPad, all kind of like this shape thing can slide behind his seat here. And then he has a pair of these little baskets that also fit back there. I mean, you can't see it from where you are. This is a lot of space. There's a lot of stuff just getting shoved back here by Henry. And then even cooler, Casey built him a couple of drawers. So this first one is underneath the seat in between the rails. This is where he's keeping his Nintendo Switch and Yodo and cards and that kind of thing, sort of the more electronic stuff that he has. And then over here, he has a slightly larger one tucked behind the seat, and this is all kinds of toys right now. He's really into Ninja Turtles. He has all 4 now. It's very exciting. So yeah, that's really nice for him to be able to say, oh, I found this stick, I want to keep it, and we can say, if it fits in the drawer, you can have it. He got a Ninja Turtle on this trip. So like, you know, as he acquires things as kids do, it's nice to just have some loose space for that to go. The other really amazing thing is that Casey wired up Henry's own outlet right here. It has USB and USB-C ports, and Henry can reach it while we're driving. So he can stay buckled, plug the iPad or Switch in, and keep going on those long drives. We use it all the time. We also have our GoPro batteries charging on it right now. Everyone kind of uses it, but while we're driving, it's safe for Henry to plug his stuff in without anybody having to get out of a seatbelt.
This is the daytime living space in the back of the van. This is where the majority of the work went in the build process. The van is built with, we've got 1-inch polyfoam board for insulation on the floor with 1/2-inch subfloor plywood on top of it. And I specifically designed it to have very few furring strips in the floor so that there's not a lot of thermal transfer. So it's a very well insulated floor as far as vans go. We've got vinyl plank flooring over the top of that. The walls and the ceiling are insulated with Havelock wool, probably about an inch deep, and in some places much more. There's a very light framing done behind the walls. The ceiling and walls are paneled with 1/4 inch birch plywood, and I've just left it raw. I haven't even put a finish on it. Maybe we'll put some poly on it. People have asked about like, how are you going to finish the wood, and I'm like, it's finished. Look at it. It looks awesome. And then the window boxes and the trim, and also our stairs in the front, are all done with cedar. The countertops are these are red maple plywood. It's laminated. It's 2 sheets of 3/4 inch plywood laminated to an 1.5 inch countertop, and then I've got red maple that has been cut around to make a sort of face trim around it. And then all of the cabinets and drawers are built with 1/2 inch, just cheap sanded plywood. All of the window boxes I'm very proud of. They are hand scribed and cut. It took many hours to shape them to the contours of the windows in the van. This van is not square. It's very round, and it tapers out. It gets wider in the middle and narrower in the front, and it was a ton of work. We've got the main cabinet in the front here that overhangs the barn doors in the front. This is where our sink faucet is. You'll notice we don't have a basin. We use a collapsible basin, and that makes it where we don't have to have a gray water system. We can just pitch the water out. And then on this side, we've got a this is a passenger van, so it actually has a rear HVAC unit. It had AC that came up over the ceiling down the middle, and it had heat that came across the floor down the side. I pulled all of the ducting out and I actually reducted it with dryer hose, and it comes out. It's the one piece of this I didn't get finished before we left on this trip. So I'll fix that up one day and put a vent cover on it. But yeah, while we're driving, I can turn the heat on and the AC on, and it blows back here and it keeps air circulating in the van. And that's why this cabinet's kind of odd. It's shaped around that. We have one other cabinet right here that's kind of interesting. So we have a 20-gallon onboard water tank that is sitting over the wheel well, and this box builds around it, but there was enough negative space around it that I was able to actually put a door on it, and we store a couple of extra blankets in there. We can look at the water tank to see our water levels in there, and we just store some other odds and ends, and some of the plumbing fixtures on this end are accessible from underneath this door. There's a slide out bed. The bed behind me, all the bedding's stuffed up in it, and here in a minute we'll show you the transition to nighttime mode. But basically this slides forward, and there's a double bed on top for Paige and I, and then Henry has his own single bed underneath in the cave that forms. We've got AC outlets on both sides of the van, this one here and this one here, and then there's actually a third outlet outside on the back side of this cabinet. And so we have full AC power off of our battery bank that I showed you in the back. You know, we've got overhead fan, we've got 2-zone lighting on dimmers. One of the switches is back here, and the other one's on this side of the cabinet over here. And so we've got dual zones that we can set the lighting for. You can't see it, but there's a bank of switches back here behind this bag, and one of them controls switch power to the fridge, so we can turn the fridge off if we're working in the van but we don't want to run the fridge. And then we've got our water pump. There is a 12-volt water pump in the back underneath some of the storage that I showed earlier, and it is plumbed to the outdoor shower that we showed you, as well as this sink. This is an operating sink, cold water only, but we can throw a basin up here, we can fill up our water filter. It's pretty awesome.
I'm going to show you all of our stuff. No, really. I want to show you what's inside some of these cabinets so you can understand how we're using the storage that Casey built in here and what's going where and all of that. This cabinet has all of our dishes, coffee making supplies, cooking things like pans, pots, that kind of thing. And then over here, this tall area is where our water filter, our Berkey, rides when we're driving. And then there's also some little storage cut in around that where we have things like olive oil and the sponges ride, stuff like that. Okay, so this is very kitchen-y stuff. We didn't clean it up for you guys. I mean, this is what it looks like. This drawer is a continuation on kitchen things. This is all the silverware, cooking utensils. We each have a napkin ring, so there's usually each person's like napkin that was still clean enough to use up here. Then there's, you know, kitchen-y stuff, lighters, all that. This is our fridge. We got this on Facebook Marketplace. I think it's made for boats.
It is. It's a Norcold. I forget the model number.
It's a Norcold, and we're really happy with it. This thing gets crammed. It's not too bad right now. We need to go get groceries soon. But yeah, everything fits in here. It has a little freezer in the back here, and everything stays cold. I mean, having a fridge is essential, so.
I mean, the freezer really works. We weren't
works.
sure at first. It took a while to get rolling, but
Yeah, it
then
all
all our
works.
shit was too frozen.
I think it just is so crammed full looking, but it's working, and like, it's tiny. So we know everything that's in here, and it's working.
It fits a lot though.
Yeah, yeah. To continue on our kitchen theme, I'm going to show you the pantry cabinets.
I knew that was going to happen.
This is part of what happens. Yeah, these need a little like bungee or something. But basically we have bread over here, and then we just have like dry storage over here. We also have a tote bag with like snacks that just sort of floats around because we're always in it. So that's food. These two drawers have things like fans, flashlights, camera stuff, and all the GoPro things. We make YouTube videos, so we need storage for this kind of thing. That works really well. And then up here we have bins for everybody's clothes, except for this one, which is kind of empty right now because all of our towels are out on a clothesline. But this is where everybody's towel rides. We have like washcloths, extra towels, toilet paper, laundry detergent. This is our quarter bag for showers and laundry and stuff. So this is the cleaning yourself and your clothes bin, I guess. And then each of us have our own bin here, and this is Henry's. Everyone also has packing cubes to help organize those. So that's kind of what those look like. That's not all of our clothes though, because we've been traveling through many climates. Beneath my butt is more than just a stool. This is called what we call the overflow clothes bin, and that's all it is. Everybody's got more packing cubes with just the sort of stuff that's not in season in the particular area that we're in right now, or like if we're not going swimming, your swimsuit's in here. If it's not raining, your raincoat's in here. It all just kind of, you get it. Overflow clothes, all in this handy dandy box that we can also sit on. Casey and I aren't able to sit on anything else in here without hitting our heads. So these are actually like really amazing. We have two. The other one is everyone's extra shoes and laundry combined in one box. There's also storage around our water tank here. We have extra blankets and just some other things that fit in like a flat, narrow space down in here. This is a cool thing because Henry will set up like pillows and blankets on it. He calls it his daybed mode, and he'll lay on there comfortably because he's so small. And that's actually really nice. It's like a cozy spot for him to hang out when the beds are put away. I can't not mention the water sparkler. This is our bubbly water maker, and it goes everywhere with us. We don't travel without it. Even in our smaller setup in the Jeep, we always have sparkling water. It's actually way more compact to have this thing than a big case of cans. We drink a lot of water and we like it bubbly, so this is essential. I made it a little cozy so that it rides like this. It's always right here. And a lot of times the Berkey, oh, it's heavy.
I felt it.
I dropped it once, so now I'm like really on edge about it. A lot of times this is actually right here,
Especially when the bed's made.
and you can fill the thing, and then when you can reach around, and this is all like still accessible. So sit on a little.
We gave a little demo.
Yeah, that's how the Berkey works. That's how you clean the top of the fridge ledge there. I hand sewed all of the window shades for the van. They're all custom dimensions for each window. After Casey built the frames out, I made sure they fit perfectly, and they're actually insulated with leftover Havelock wool from the wall and ceiling insulation, so they're really well insulated. And we also made these little clips to hold them up when we want them open, and those stay there. It's really convenient. And so yeah, that's how that works. That's it, it's in bed. It's actually really fast. There's there's enough room, and with the windows, there's like these little windows to the side, and that like really makes a big difference to have this little cutout space where you can like stick your head, you know?
Put an elbow?
Yeah, it's a tight space. This is a full-size bed. We sleep on a king-size bed everywhere else that we sleep, so this is a compromise, but it's been worth it and not too bad so far. There's this great little light right here, and it has a USB port underneath it, which is handy. This is where Casey charges his phone at night. It's actually really nice like this, kind of like a, you might notice there's a little gap here. This is where my baking supply box rides, and then I have an art supply box that rides in front of it. So my little hobby bins actually go right there, and I have a little bit more breathing room on my side because I need it. There's 3 of us, so we actually have a bed underneath our bed for Henry. It does this nice little fold out of the way so you can get into the cabinets in the morning and make coffee. But yeah, that's his little cave. Every once in a while he sleeps with his head here or his head underneath, just depending on how he's feeling. I don't know what else there is to say about that. It's a tiny mattress. He's a tiny dude. When you get under there, it opens up quite a bit because that's that whole living space, just shorter. So he's got room to like set his book and a nightlight and the water bottle, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's a whole little world down there. My cookies are ready, guys. I gotta be done with this video.
Thanks for checking out the van with us. If you thought this was cool and you want to see us using it and traveling in it, we're out traveling in it right now, so be sure and get subscribed. Watch our vlogs where we get out and use it. There's also an entire build series. We documented the whole build, something like 15 or 16 videos in that build series. Every aspect, every detail of building this van was captured. And coming soon, we're gonna have a supercut time lapse of the entire build start to finish in one video. So get subscribed if you want to see that.